Hey guys, welcome back. This is Lucid, and we're jumping back into our game with Ermor. We have had quite a few weeks pass since I recorded the last episode in real time. So I'm actually significantly farther ahead in the game, whereas I was doing it close to real time. So I'm gonna try to get us caught up. Okay, what happened last time? Well, it was pretty clear that Nazca was falling, and we had him release us from our nap. And you can see we're making some hay over here, trying to get at least a tiny bit of the Nazca spoils. And while we're not very happy to have Yiss as a neighbor, we're not terribly frightened about it either. And Nazca not taking any of the Pangean spoils seems like an okay thing for us. So it's kind of working out. Now, I do get 4 Alquills and a Dwarven Hammer. And then these, which I'm not going to use, really. But we do get 33. 33 Death Gems from Pangea. So I suppose this is his final gift to the squids. Since the squids have attacked him, and I think he's not very happy about it. There's really, aside from Yiss, there's one other player who can mess with them underwater, and that's me. So I think that's his final gift to the squids, is giving me stuff, which, I don't know. This really the only time I've gotten death baskets is from this player. He gave them to me in another game, but I feel like I never get death baskets. Anyway, we'll take it. Will this significantly change the outcome of the game? Not really. 33 death gems is nice, but like, it's like a turn of income. Like, we're making almost 30 death gems a turn. It's definitely nice, but it's not like, holy shit. And the gold, nice. I think he gave us a little gold last turn. I can't remember which turn it was, but yeah. Pearls are nice too. Dire Portent. Mother Oak goes up by Pangea. Pangea pinned it into his cap, but fuck it, casting Mother Oak anyway. Which is cool, because he can now summon stuff inside his cap, other things like that. We've cast Archbishop twice, Revive Archbishop, and we found 2 sites. We found a Dying Forest and a Grove of Fertility. So that's 2 nature gems and 1 death gem. We will take it. Can't ask for more from a nature site searcher. Here also we have our, speaking of sites, Palisade underway, and yeah, we've got, these were the, I think were these our first 2, no, these were our second 2 archbishops we got from this location, once we've had our little operation going. But for Ermor, like, you start off with 10 death income. Talk about this a little bit. You start off with 10, and you can't get an archbishop every turn because they're 23. You get one like every 2.5 turns. But then, you're going to side search a little. You get a few temples put up, and before you know it, you're going to be at like 16 death income. And you can be like, all right, that's pretty good. And there you're kind of on getting an archbishop every 2 turns. We are getting an archbishop twice a turn, like 4 times faster than like a mid-game Ermor. Now 16 would be a low death income, but like, we are going to be doing exceptionally well on the archbishop, on our archbishop game. Now, worth pointing out. Well, actually, I'm not even sure. I was gonna say, Revive Lictors may even be a better deal now. I was going to say, well, if you find a conjuration site, you definitely want to go Archbishop, because you get a discount. Well, you also get a discount on Revive Lictor, but this is going to be an even bigger discount. This would be, it's only going to cost 2 gems when you cast it. So yeah, that's like a 30% discount, whereas this is less. This is like a 25, but I don't know. I don't really like doing the laurels and all that stuff with getting the lictors if I can avoid it. If you're in like a super scrappy early game survival war, it's probably worth doing maybe if you have the tech. But I think you need construction too for it. Anyway, we can find out. We don't have construction too. We can't find out. Speaking of research, we're hitting enchantment 5 in a few turns. For all the good it does us. We don't really have what was I going to say? We don't really have access to, or none of our neighbors. I think these guys have poison resistance. Sceleria has poison resistance. I think Naba has poison resistance. Yes, I know has poison resistance. So foul vapors not going to be super helpful. We can hoard skeletons, I guess. Battles. We clear out some barbs. This was over here. Pangea is giving us the real PvE experience where we have to fight him and all of his misfortune events. And then over here we have a lot of battles as we take these Nazcan forts. Let's see if there's... We can watch this one, I guess. There's an Inca inside this fort. These are all the previous kind of Pangean holdings. The thing that's a little weird, I guess, I don't know what the right word for it is. It feels bad attacking Nazca now, but he was dead. Like, he was so dead. Like, it sucks because we were allies. And I don't really... And I, you know... I've played with this guy in quite a few games, too. I really don't like turning on allies. Like this. But first of all, I mean, he agreed to it. He was like, yeah, I'm dead. But you could tell, like, I did it, I asked him a little early. Like, his cap, I think, was under siege when I asked him, so it wasn't that early. And he had already lost a lot of his armies. But still, you know, there was, like, fighting breath left in him. But, I mean, the writing was on the wall. He was going to die, in my opinion. But, in my opinion, if you wait to the point where it's, like, it doesn't feel bad at all to ask, you're like, oh, you're completely dead. Like, you're going to miss out on so much of the spoils. So, better to get out of the nap a little sooner and get a part of the vulturing. Now, I kind of want to take this fort, but I also kind of want to secure the Pangean land. Yeah. So, I think what we're doing is... Yeah. Wait, are we doing this? I'm moving a pretty big doom stack up here to attack Sceleria. I can't remember the turn. Oh, Tephasia, I say. We'll do horrible, horrible things with these death gems. So we've put Pangea back under siege. We've got a little squad. This squad will probably be sufficient to keep them from breaking out. But I think we're going to take... I don't really have a way to kill the monolith. So I think we're taking basically everybody else, sending them up here. I can't exactly remember what I'm doing in all these turns. But anyway, we're going to go through them kind of quickly as we get caught up to where I am in the game. But it's not exactly going to be a slow ride. We've got some exciting stuff coming. I know we're about to go to war with Sceleria. I can't remember the exact turn. I think we're on turn 32 now. Yeah, turn 32, the quiet before the storm. Oh my god, Phasia gives us the rest of his gems. Okay, this is now a sizable death basket. Jeez, I didn't realize he gave me this much. I mean, we can't use them. If I could alchemize them into death gems at 4-1, not a bad idea. Found 2 magic sites. This is a big deal, though. This province is a sick province. Holy shit. We get 3 death gems from it. 2 nature, and 1 water? Oh my gosh. I mean, that's like a cap site for me. This is so good. So good. So I think we've got 2 or 3 Dusk Elders going around site searching. And we've got our little nature mages. Here we can see End. Going to town against Naba. I've never seen anybody get these lions before. I do like them. They're kind of cool. He's got these Bone Tribe with the short bow. Bitch Mother. With some blood slaves. Let's see what he's doing. Oh, on this side, there's a bunch of PD. I guess Gym Use isn't going to trigger. I kind of want to see what he's going to do with blood. I guess it's just some imps or something. A lot of banishment or smites or whatever. Okay, he lost some lions because they don't have much protection. I think some of the archer fire. mist and, and then we have Battle in the Fortress of Pangea. I think I'm pinging him with the scout. Yeah, we get wrecked by... what does it mean? Do they have harpies? Did I miss harpies? No, just the archers doing their work. Yeah, I guess these centaurs on the wall, they have longbows, so they're pretty good. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to kind of speed through. Oh, I got a skull mentor from an event. A little bit of population. This is from the Rebirth mod. So if I've depopulated a place, we'll go to the Caverns of Gold. Here, it's really low. Oh, I think it must have had a growth scale last turn. Because if it has a growth scale and it's low pop, you have a chance of this event happening if you have the Rebirth mod on, which I turned on because I'm playing Ermor. That way, if people conquer my lands, just a refresher, if people conquer my lands with the Rebirth mod on, it will slowly gain population back if they have growth scales. So that's nice for them because it means, they can recruit stuff out of forts, they can put PD down, all of that goodness. Of course, I think if you do play Pop Kill, that's a good mod to have on. Tax, province income -5. I think we were making anything anyway. Okay. So we've got a huge portion of dudes here. I sent a message. We have a message to end. Okay, so we see End going to war with Naba. I think I sent End, hey, we can do a nap if you want to. I don't think he replies, actually. Though maybe he did. I don't think he does. We'll find out. But I'd also kind of like to have this more secure as I enter into a war with Sceleria, because somebody has to fight Sceleria. And my window is coming up, like before they get research, etc., etc., etc. Right now, it looks like we see no evidence of thaumaturgs. Like cultists, no thaumaturgs. Cultists, no thaumaturgs. Once he turns on thaumaturg production, his research is going to go crazy. And I cannot afford... Well, once he has good research, I'm kind of fucked. Like, Dust to Dust is like super low tier, but even that's going to be kind of painful. I mean, it's not much better than Banishment, but it'll crush my lictors. Witherbones is one of the first milestones he gets. Anti-magic is a huge milestone, and these are early, right? Like, once he has all the undead with that, and the thaumaturgs are going to be doing Power of the Sepulchre, which is a really good spell on Sceleria. So, once he's doing that, that's all, like, super easy stuff. I want to be in a bit of hot water. He can also Skelly spam, which is super low. He's going to want, super low tier. He's going to want to get Enchantment 4 for anti-magic anyway. And so it's just a stone's throw away from Horde of Skeletons. He can also, we said Witherbones. That's pretty quick. I think it's like Thumb 5, if I had to guess. Okay, it's Thumb 6, so a little bit farther, but this just crushes lictors. This is like the lictor counter. And then as the game goes later, this also is going to give him Soul Slay. So if I don't have enough lictors and I only am doing undead, he can just snipe my commander, and that will be that. He can also do Vengeance of the Dead if I'm Thug. Not going to be terribly good here. But like I want to fight him before he's doing all that. Like if he's still in a phase, and he could be at that point now for sure. Like certainly anti-magic I would expect already, but I don't really expect Witherbones yet. And I want to fight him before those start coming out, especially in mass, because it's like one Witherbones caster is a lot different than 10. Now, as the game goes later and he gets access to mass regen, which means now the guy spamming out stuff on my Blood Vengeance dudes will be healing. And then as he gets, like, especially, this is like the good game thing. If he gets Thaumaturgy 9, I can no longer fight him. Like, the game is over for me for fighting him. I have to figure out something else aside from fighting him in combat. Because once he gets Thumb 9, there's just GG. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I think look, you can see we've got a lot of errors going up here. We are preparing to go to war with Sceleria, and there's going to be a little bit of a misunderstanding that I'm about to have. I do not think I have a nap with him, and what apparently happens, because this is going to happen after the game, or like after the turn I attack. He's like, "Hey, dude, we had a nap," and I'm like, "No, we didn't." And we go back and check messages, and apparently he had said, "Hey, do you want a nap?" And I was like, "I guess I'm cool with that. How long do you want?" or something like that. And he never replied. So it's like, do we have a nap? I mean, we're both like, we don't know how long the nap is, but I would say that was enough communication on my part for me to say, "Hey, how long was our nap?" And then he would tell me, and then I'd be like, "Okay, well, I meant to get," like, it's not cool, I don't think, after that to attack. So anyway, we'll go through it, but I offer to basically, I just step on kill PD for a turn. I basically offer to step back off and then start a nap countdown. But anyway, he is going to feel feisty and be like, "No, I'm good, man. We can fight now." But you can see I'm pulling almost everybody off Pangea. So this is now a bit of a skeleton crew. I probably could do with a bit more. And I probably could move with putting these guys on top. But I just know right now I don't really have the tools. Like, I don't have any construction. Enchantment's not going to kill the monolith. The only thing I might be able to do that's super low, like low tier, is like magic duel. There's some items maybe in construction too I could get. If I got Itimu in close, he might be able to kill. But if Itimu gets in close alone, this monolith has death. And so he'll dust to dust Itimu and kill him really fast. So anyway, it's going to be complicated. For now, we're just going to sit on top. I would love to go ahead and finish off Pangea. But there's side benefits to not. On one hand, if I finish off Pangea, I get the nature income and I get the full income from his fort. Very good. On the other hand, he's got all these candles here, which are slowing my Dominion push down into the Pangean lands a lot. They're slowing it down a lot. And the second I get rid of them, it's going to mean this population goes away, which means I can't turn it into ghouls. It's also going to mean Pangea is going to have its population for less amount of time. Because this wave of Dominion is going to come down. Right now it's being held back by Pangea's Dominion, but the second I kill his god, that wave is going to gush through. So anyway, now balancing everything out, would I take Pangea right now if I could? Yes. But I'm just saying there's collateral side benefits from not taking Pangea. So it's not all shit. And so, yeah, we're basically moving here. I'm thinking Sceleria may make Mound Kings. So if you're Sceleria, you want to make Mound Kings and raid me underwater. Now, I can raid underwater because I get Mound Kings for free. And he has to pay death gems for them. But still, it's something you kind of expect. This is a high-income province. He can also potentially raid across the river. And unfortunately, it's a late fall. Which means this bridge is going to open up. And he can attack me with this 1,000 stack. And this 1,000 stack can one turn pop forts, etc., etc. There's problems. I think in general, one of the things I kind of like about this war with Sceleria is I want... A lot of times as Ermor, you want to have like a big multi-front war, like a big border to raid on, all of these things. But versus Sceleria, not really. Like, Sceleria can outraid me. They've just got way more disposable chaff than I do. And they've got priests, so in casual encounters of the same quantity of undead, he's going to win from banishing my dudes. Whereas I've got like a Mound King leading my guys, he's going to have a cultist. And so anyway, and that the cultist will do a lot of kills. Like, he'll probably get 30 or 40 kills in a battle, I bet. Of like 100 long dead versus 100 long dead. So maybe that's a little high. Maybe like 20. But that's not insignificant. Anyway. What this is going to mean is in the winter, he can cross here. And I don't really want that. I really want to have a single front where I push through with all my sacreds, and he has to fight me with whatever he's got. So anyway, we're moving a few guys in here to help deal with some casual, extremely casual raiding. Even a few of these guys will do a good job versus one Mound King worth of stuff. With a little bit of undead support, these guys are just going to chew through Long Dead. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're getting ready to go to war. And I forgot, I've been checking for messages to go to Sceleria, but because I don't think I have a nap, we're not going to tell him. But he will probably notice a large increase in the number of undead upon his border. So going to the next turn 33. Oh my god, he just keeps sending. Okay, this is an enormous death basket. 2 more death gems. I've probably gotten now 120 gems from him in total. I mean, that's huge. And then 1,000 gold. That's so much money. He pillaged his cap down to nothing. So it really wouldn't get anything. I think Relay, it's his first time playing with this guy. And I think he was a little shocked to see that the cap hasn't been reduced to like 2,000 population. Like, yep, welcome to playing with this guy. A little salty when he loses. So Naba attacking here. Take a look at their bless again. Attack, decay weapons, shock resistance, poison resistance, cold resistance, defense skill, reinvigoration, MR3, blood surge. This is going to be a good bless for fighting against me. The only thing it's not very good against is it's not great. So there's a few things. The Yan Guard have fire resistance, so they're not going to fatigue out from heat from hell. These guys do not, though. But they can potentially be, buffed with fire resistance by not terribly difficult. He doesn't have reinvigoration built into the bless. Does he? Did I miss it? Oh, he has 1. Okay. Well, that'll help. Because I was thinking maybe he's a little vulnerable to fatigue plays. But the MR3 is huge. It's going to be really, really good against Ermor. Because with anti-magic, these guys are going to be 20. With 28 anti-magic, with 20 MR, Blood Vengeance is going to do very, very little. Anyway. We'll see. Okay, so here we have Unrest, minus population, minus gold. That sucks. We got some water gems, and we got some nature gems. And then we have a bunch of fortresses getting finished. So you can see, look at all this fortress complete business. This war with Pangea has been very profitable for us. We've got up here... we have a fort coming up here. We've got a fort coming up here. I don't think we have a fort coming up here yet. This is the fort we took from Nazca. We're upgrading it. They're still trying to siege down. So they moved on top of this fort with a very tiny force, and they're still working on sieging this down. One thing that Ys does not do terribly well is siege forts down quickly. It's not really a national strength. Like, super expensive and elite heavy cav, and then thugs are not great at breaking fort walls. They have other chaff they get, but you know. And okay, we're moving in to reinforce this a bit with a few more dudes. And yeah, we're issuing the attack orders. So let's look real quick what we've got. We've got 2 flanks of the knights. We've got a little bit of screening chaff up in the front, and then my second line is a big line of lictors. Now, the lictors I kind of want densely packed together, because I want... their job is basically to take hits. Maybe mixing them up isn't a bad idea either, like having them interspersed with these other guys. But, yeah, I don't know. Could be sparse line and mixing them in together is the way to go. But anyway, this is how we're doing it. We basically just got lines of these guys. Everybody's on in the front is on hold and attack. I also got some mercs. We got the villains. We got some crossbowmen. And of course, we have the mighty Marcata. And then we've got another line of these guys on sparse line formation of our melee skeletons. And then behind them, we have now all of our javelin throwers. And these guys are on hold and fire, 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 and then hold and fire. Now, they're all in sparse line too. All my skeletons are in sparse line, and that is to reduce the damage I take from banishment. Importantly, we've also got we've got Nardimu coming in. Now, Nardimu is our prophet, so he can drop Power of the Sepulchre. We also have Manslay. Manslay is doing Unholy Blessing turn 1. You can see I double scripted Unholy Blessing, so if something happens to Manslay, assassinated or whatever, we're going to get it off with just Nardimu. It's worth, I think, being a little risk averse here. And then Protection of the Sepulchre afterwards. So that's it. We're going to go attack Sceleria. And I tell you what, this looks like there's a lot of guys. I think he's got a fort in almost every one of these provinces over here, and they've all got similar stacks on them from talking with Satis and with Jotunheim. He's got forts up here. They're all like this. So I think he's got significantly more undead than I do. And a lot of my undead, like we were just to look at army graphs, are these ghouls, and these ghouls are not good for fighting. So in terms of fighting undead, he's got way more than I do. But this is, I think, I think we're late. Ideally, we would have started this war 4 or 5 turns ago. Because I need a lot of sacreds to be able to do it. So there's this window where I have some sacreds, maybe not a huge amount, but kind of a lot. And he doesn't have research yet. And while we're at the end of, like the very tail end of that window. And I think the only reason we're still maybe in the window is he appears to be very slow in switching to thaumaturgs. So we're coming up here, attacking. And I think we'll go ahead and do one more turn. We'll do turn 34, and then we'll call it for this episode. Oh my god, more money from Pangea. It's just embarrassing. It makes me blush. Stone Circle. So this is a nice site. We get a Woodhead Druid we can recruit, which is, always appreciated. Stealthy Preaching, not so much. Actually, they're kind of expensive. I think I'd rather have a Shaman if we're going to be doing researching. But, they can reanimate. They can stealthy lead. And then, importantly, 1 Nature Gem. We also had Putrescator empower himself in Earth. With the idea he's going to be walking around site searching anyway, so might as well site search a bit for Earth. Now, this is in some ways, not a great move, because, I could be empowering a Timu in Earth, but I want to open up Crystal Shield production, and then, the Earth-Fire cross path. I don't know if this is the best move, but it's the move we've chosen to do. I'm probably going to be empowering him in a few things. There's some good path access I can get on him, basically. He's got the high astral built in by default. May have been a bit of a misplay, but it's not a bad misplay. We can definitely use him later to forge things we wouldn't otherwise, and I have a ton of gems lying around. Timu, I'm also a little hesitant about. The curse is a little bit annoying. I don't know. We'll see how we use Timu. He's not going to be helpful versus Sceleria, because he'll get Apostasied. Over here, if I fight End or Naba, I'm going to have to worry. It's turn 35. We're going to have to start worrying about Soul Slay. And in not very long, we're going to have to start worrying about Mind Hunt. If we fight Yis, we're going to have to be worrying about Soul Slay. So I'm not really that interested in using Timu as a solo actor. So what I might use him for is if I empower him in air. I can use him to cloud trapeze on top of dudes. And that would be helpful if I'm not worried about Mind Hunt yet. Okay, so there's a battle in Nabaa. So End is going for the jugular. And they're on top of Nabaa with this stack. And Nabaa has rode out to meet them. Now, they've got a few Malika who each have chainmail of displacement, which is odd. The player playing Nabaa loves his thugs. And Nabaa is certainly a nation that can do some thugging. They've got his god here, too. And I don't know what his god's going to cast. My guess is Hal. And he's got some Jinn warriors here, which are pretty good. So let's see how this plays out. I'm going to be keeping my eye over in this part of the map. So we've got a communion being set up, it looks like on both sides. Storm power coming up on this side, which means we can expect storm coming up. Yep. Howl coming up from Nabaa. Now Howl is going to slow the advance. This is a very inefficient formation for End. These guys kind of trickling through one at a time. Some of this is okay, because, like, Thunder Strikes, it's going to drag out, but, like, look at this. This is not very good. You kind of... These guys are just good as dead. Air Elementals coming out. Now, the Air Elementals get a nice stat bonus in Storms, so they're very hard to hit. What is he summoning back here? Are these guys leading communions? No. I wonder if he has any of these guys leading communions. Huh. 1 second. Don't want to ruin it, but... I mean, these bitch mothers are like expensive mages. I'm wondering what he has them do. Ray's dead? Are you serious? Anime dead? That's it? See, and he's got slaves. I was thinking he would do imps at least. Imps at least. Like imps and reinvigoration and stuff. But I think you definitely want to get in the communion too. I mean, let's take a look at his communion. He's got 8 slaves, which is a pretty good amount. Let's see if we find a slave, see how much fatigue they're getting. Okay, here's a slave. Okay, not too super high, but still worth having one guy jump into communion just to reset fatigue at the end of the script, which he didn't do. And the air elementals are coming out. Some of these lions have snuck back here, and the air elementals are dealing with them. They're about to hoist up and go drop down. We've got gifts of heaven coming down. Let's take a look at these Yan warriors. Jan warriors. They don't appear to be buffed with anything in particular. Like, none of them that I see right now are ethereal. I think he has magic weapons. Yeah. I don't see luck or twist fate or anything. So this is not like a super advanced Nabaa army. But instead of the fluffing, we've got major elemental summoning and things like that in Storm and Howl. So now, Ant has done flaming arrows, which is going to be not great. Because these guys have fire resistance, they have big shields. Oh man. The gifts of heaven coming in, just completely missing and killing his own stuff. So this is unfortunate because I think a lot of what the mages in this script are casting is gifts of heaven, which, you know, at this range with this amount of troop density just is not doing shit. It's not doing shit. It's really... He's probably killed more of his own units than the enemies. And meanwhile, the mages for End have been quite effective. His god has been spamming skeletons. The air elementals have been doing very, very serious work. Now, he's lost some Jangard, no doubt. But now, the walls are closing in around End because Hal has made just plenty enough distractions. And so these guys aren't even dealing with the oncoming threat. And now his god is making just an ungodly number of skeletons from one dude. What was that, Sulfur Haze? And, yeah, I think the mages realize what has happened. The bitch mothers fatigued out while the air elementals and Jangard close in. This is an important battle, because if End won this, Nabaa was going to be in big trouble. Really big trouble, because End was on their cap. It was a very aggressive play, but it was a play that might have worked. I don't know, Nabaa might have had deeper pockets where they could have kind of come back in for round 2. But even if they had a round 2, if End was able to win this battle, yeah, I think the writing would have been on the wall for Nabaa. But instead, End got completely crushed. Now, what are things End could have done? Well, who is this lady? So I think that there's a few things. I think this particular army comp, Gifts of Heaven, was really bad. So all the mages here really didn't amount to much. I mean, I think that's actually the main thing. Well, there's a few things. I guess you don't know whether he's going to bring a shit ton of camels or not. So he's kind of clustered up. I guess maybe a little worried about camels or something like that. But I think you probably want to have your archers maybe a little more forward positioned. Get a little closer. If you know he's going to be thugging. But I guess you don't know. So I don't know. Maybe the formation's kind of okay. The main problems with it are it causes a trickle. So ideally what I think you want to do, you want to move like your line forward. You can put the lions behind them with maybe one group in front just to draw, to draw fire. These guys here, the fact that everybody, like these guys are positioned in front of these, I don't like. Because it's just leading towards this like single flow of units coming down the middle. Which is not what you want. Like if you're End, you have the numbers advantage. You want to envelop as many of his forces as you can. So either put them in a single line on attack rear, or, which I think is probably the best, or like if you can't do line or whatever for all of them, do boxes, like several boxes and spread them out, but put them on attack rear so that by the time they get here, they're not like converging towards the middle. They're percolating around the sides. And that should be okay. They should actually make pretty good work of mages if they get in combat. Because they have magic weapons. And I think they have bonus attack skill too. Yeah. They would do pretty well against the Nabaa mages. So, attack rear, I think. These are undisciplined, so you can't script them. So they're basically going to do their javelins and get in. Same thing with these guys with the short bow. So I think just have like a line of the infantry, put the archers behind them. The javelins, I'm not going to be terribly picky about where they go. And as much as you can, try to get the majority of the lions, because the lions are fast. Well, not that lion. Combat speed 20. They're going to get there ahead. So ideally you trap them behind the archers and then they become reinforcements later. So I think that's the first thing on the troop formation. And then for the mages, God, do anything else. I mean, summon because he's got like the Earth Communion. We'll see who the masters are. These Earth guys. Wait, let's wait a turn real quick. That was flaming arrows, which is fine. Where are the? Interesting. This guy's a slave, even though he's one of the cap-only ones. Okay, what would have been the best spells? Like, you can't necessarily choose this ahead of time, but by this point in the game, we could have had Soul Slay. Soul Slay, by far and away, I think, would be the best spell for him to be spamming. And if you do that, you actually want to have your S1s as masters and have these guys as slaves, with one of these guys to do summon Earth Power on everyone. And I think they have at least gotten the Earth Power off, because I can see they have Reinvigoration. And then you want to do Power of the Spheres on the slaves, and then maybe Light of the Northern Star, and just spam out Soul Slay. That would have won him the fight, even with all the fucked up formation stuff. Gifts of Heaven, not the call. And I think having the mages on advance and cast spells would have been better here too. Not if you're doing Soul Slay and like the astral stuff, but if you're doing Gifts of Heaven, or you've run up Evocation and that's your plan, do advance and cast spells. Because then at least you'll get close, your things will miss less. Anyway. But yeah, these guys don't do much. I mean, the nice thing, though, is there's some things that are done right. Like, I think you got Legions of Steel off on some guys. Well, not these. You get it off on a lot of these guys. 13. No, who did you get Legions of Steel off? We see Legions of Steel going off here, right? Hit over here. Oh, well. Oh, there we go. Gifts of Heaven hitting. I think this was friendly. This was... Were these both friendly? Hard to tell. Anyway, I think this is a fight that... what are these? Oh, they're mind burning the wolves. Not horrible, I guess. You can see Hal did distract the mages a lot, too. And he didn't do anti-magic. But he did have Mrna's Bless. Anti-magic would have made Soul Slay a lot less effective. So I don't know. I feel like if End did either the better formations... I think that would have given him a shot at winning. I think if he had better mage, either research or scripting, he would have won too. And if he did both, I think he would have won by a margin. But as it stands, here's the Butcher's Ledger. And, End took a lot of losses. Like, this is not End. Nabaa took a lot of losses. It's not cheap for Nabaa. But he didn't lose any mages. And this is a pretty crippling defeat for End. I mean, this is maybe not a complete all-in, but pretty close. Pretty close. So many mages. And these bishops. I don't really know what the bishops were used for. Sorry, I'm kind of going on about this, but it's kind of interesting. Sermon of Courage. Okay. Sermon of Courage. Okay, he's got them on spells, cast spells, and there's nothing for them to hit, so they're just standing there. So I'm not sure the purpose of bringing this many. Not sure the purpose of bringing them. I forget... I don't have access to the spell, so I can't see. I forget what I know. You can do Smite Demon. I think Holy Twos might be able to do Holy Word, which would stun Sacreds if they were on Advance and Cast spell. That probably would have been a good thing for them to do too. Because if those Naba Sacreds are stunned, they would get kind of whooped up on. Anyway. So let's take a look at the theater of war down here. The End army's crushed. The remnants of it have retreated down south. And meanwhile, this fort, while End was all in on attacking Naba's capital, Naba was not all in on defending his capital. In fact, he was on the offensive. And this fort has been cracked. Now, the army on top is much bigger than we see because there's a bunch of dudes that are glamored or stealthy. So, yeah, stuff is about to hit the fan really fast. And, yeah, we're probably going to be trying to vulture at least something off of End. I've got my limited scouting network moving around too, so hopefully we see some other stuff. And then for us, we attack Sceleria. Here's our army rolling out. Well, I guess these front guys will really attack. And so, yeah, Sceleria gets his turn, and he's like, hey, dude, I thought we had a nap. And then the previous discussion we had, that plays out where we're looking through return files and, like, trying to figure out if we had a nap or not. And, yeah, we end up deciding that we didn't, but we had talked about it. And I was like, I offered to get off of this fort and to re-engage, you know, as if me attacking this turn would have been sending a nap ending order. So I'd have to wait a few turns, potentially, like assuming we had a nap 3, which, you know, we didn't, but, you know, we could pretend. Oh my god, look at all these undead. 1,100, 1,100, and then 800. And Sceleria is like, no, we cool. Which is always a little scary when you know, you're like, hey, sorry, we can be friends, and they're like, no. We're cool. So I've got some reinforcements coming in. Or I did have some reinforcements coming in. But I get cold feet here. What I choose to do this turn is retreat. And thing is, I have very little intel on what Sceleria can do. I've talked with Satis, so I know, I think he did like a very, I think he was only raiding with cultists against Satis. So, for him, he's going to look at this and think, okay, this is a huge fight. I've got to mobilize. So I want to see how he deploys his troops, how many troops he brings, whether he's doing mages, whether he's only doing cultists, if he has mages, what spells he has researched, all these things. Now, I could choose to storm the fort, and if he's only doing cultists, there's a decent chance we would win. But if he's doing anti-magic and Wither Bones, I'm going to be fucked. So anyway, we're not going to risk it, because the thing is, like, this is a very bad matchup for me. Like, this is the nation that should be able to beat me almost every minute of the game. The good news, though, is Jotunheim has joined in the war. So it's me and Jotunheim versus Sceleria, because I don't think there's a way I can single-handedly win against Sceleria. Now, Jotunheim also has a window where he is going to be sort of effective against Sceleria, and that window is before Soul Slain and Enslaved Mind come out. Because before those come out, and before he has a lot of mages, Jotunheim can use Scrotty, which are terrifying against hordes of undead without a lot of mage support. Scrotty have a critical weakness, though, of being low magic resistance. So as soon as Soul Slain stuff comes out, Scrotty are fucked. But until they come out, they can kill indiscriminately large numbers of undead. They go berserk, they fight, the undead can't kill them, the battle ends, the undead all dissolve. So, that's that. Yeah, and we're retreating off here to see what he's got. Oh, I was saying this is a bad matchup. So not only is it just a bad matchup, like it's going to be hard for me to win fights, but it's also a bad matchup strategically, in the sense that a lot of nations are going to be like, oh, holy shit, Ermor's got, a lot of ghouls in his fort. It's going to take us forever to siege the fort down. Sceleria's like, I have, like, 10,000 siege strength in my whole empire. Like, you think I care about 400 ghouls which suck in combat defending a fort or holding up fort walls? No. He can one turn pop multiple forts at that time. I mean, like, if you look at his total siege, his total siege, what do they call it? Siege strength compared to my total siege defense, he could probably take all the forts in my empire, given if he had them correctly deployed, within, like, I mean, not counting the turns it takes to move, just looking at raw siege defense and how much fort walls I have versus the total amount of siege strength he has. Probably like 4 turns, 5 turns. Now it would take him longer than that if he conquered, my main armies to move around and siege all the forts and storm them. But I mean, we're talking I could get freaking rolled. So we have to be cautious. We're going to be a little cautious, but we also have to act. So it's a bit of a weird situation. We have to be cautious and we have to act. And I think we're going to end the episode there. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time.